Crash course on history of major trade routes on Earth. Trade routes have played a significant role in shaping the world as we know it today. From the ancient Silk Road to the modern-day shipping lanes, trade routes have connected people, cultures, and ideas throughout history. In this crash course, we will explore the history of some of the major trade routes on Earth. 1. The Silk Road. The Silk Road was a network of trade routes that connected China to the Mediterranean Sea. The Silk Road got its name from the Chinese silk that was traded along the route. However, many other goods were also traded, including spices, precious metals, and textiles. The Silk Road had a significant impact on the world. It facilitated the exchange of goods and ideas between different cultures, leading to the spread of Buddhism, Christianity, and Islam. The Silk Road also helped to spur innovation, as ideas and technologies were shared between different societies. One interesting story from the Silk Road is that of Marco Polo. Polo was an Italian explorer who traveled along the Silk Road to China in the 13th century. His account of his journey, The Travels of Marco Polo, introduced Europeans to the wonders of the East and helped to spur interest in trade with China. 2. The Trans-Saharan Trade Route. The Trans-Saharan Trade Route was a network of trade routes that crossed the Sahara Desert. The route connected West Africa to the Mediterranean and Middle East. The Trans-Saharan Trade Route was used to trade gold, salt, ivory, and slaves. The Trans-Saharan Trade Route had a significant impact on West Africa, helping to create powerful empires like Ghana, Mali, and Songhai. The route also helped to spread Islam throughout the region. One interesting story from the Trans-Saharan Trade Route is that of Mansa Musa. Musa was the ruler of the Mali Empire in the 14th century. He is known for his famous pilgrimage to Mecca, during which he brought a large amount of gold with him. Musa's lavish spending during his journey caused inflation in the cities he passed through, demonstrating the economic power of West Africa at the time. 3. The Indian Ocean Trade Route. The Indian Ocean Trade Route was a network of trade routes that connected East Africa, the Middle East, India, and Southeast Asia. The route was used to trade spices, textiles, and precious metals. The Indian Ocean Trade Route had a significant impact on the world, facilitating the spread of Islam throughout Southeast Asia and helping to create powerful trading empires like the Malacca Sultanate. One interesting story from the Indian Ocean Trade Route is that of Zheng He. Zheng He was a Chinese explorer who traveled throughout Southeast Asia and the Indian Ocean in the 15th century. His voyages helped to establish Chinese trade relationships with the rest of the world and cemented China's reputation as a naval power. 4. The Mediterranean Trade Route. The Mediterranean Trade Route was a network of trade routes that connected Europe, Africa, and Asia. The route was used to trade goods like olive oil, wine, and spices. The Mediterranean trade route had a significant impact on the world, helping to create powerful empires like the Roman Empire and facilitating the spread of Christianity throughout the region. One interesting story from the Mediterranean trade route is that of the Phoenicians. The Phoenicians were a seafaring civilization that lived in the eastern Mediterranean in the 1st millennium BCE. They were known for their skills as traders and shipbuilders, and they established colonies throughout the Mediterranean region. 5. The Atlantic Slave Trade. The Atlantic slave trade was a network of trade routes that connected Africa, Europe, and the Americas. The route was used to trade enslaved Africans to the Americas, where they were forced to work on plantations. The Atlantic slave trade had a significant impact on the world, leading to the displacement of millions of Africans and the creation of the African diaspora. The slave trade also had a profound impact on the economies of Europe and the Americas, contributing to the growth of industries like sugar and tobacco. One interesting story from the Atlantic slave trade is that of Olaudah Equiano. Equiano was an enslaved African who was transported to the Americas in the 18th century. He later bought his freedom and became an abolitionist, writing an influential autobiography that helped to raise awareness about the horrors of the slave trade. In conclusion, trade routes have been a fundamental part of human history, connecting people, cultures, and ideas across vast distances. These major trade routes have had a profound impact on the world, shaping economies, politics, and cultures. By understanding the history of these trade routes, we can gain a deeper appreciation for the interconnectedness of our world and the rich diversity of human experience. Here is a nice poem on major trade routes on Earth. Trade routes stretch far and wide, connecting nations side by side. From east to west, from north to south, they carry goods with care and truth. The Silk Road, a path so old, with silken strands and stories told. From China's lands to the Mediterranean, it brought new treasures for each nation. trans-Saharan winds that fiercely blow. The path through desert sands did go. It brought salt, gold, and slaves to trade. And cultures new, that soon were made. The Indian Ocean trade, a sailor's delight. From East Africa's shores to Asia's sight. It carried spices, jewels, and silks so fine. And cultures shared, across the brine. The Mediterranean, a sea of lore. With history rich and tales of yore. It carried olive oil, wine, and wheat. And cultures diverse, that did entreat. The Atlantic trade, a darkened past. With ships and chains that made life last. From Africa's shores to the Americas. It carried slaves, and made dark histories. These trade routes, a web so wide. Connected nations, side by side. They brought wealth, and cultures new. And made us human, through and through. For trade routes teach us one key thing. That humans are connected, and in a ring. We share our stories, our goods, our lives. And make the world a place to thrive. Start planning your next global adventure with ease and convenience with Booking.com as a great choice to plan your next trip. You can find and book flights, hotels, cars, and local attractions all in one place. And their price match guarantee ensures you're getting the best deal. Thank you for support our AnHub Metaverse channel, and please watch more interesting videos here.